you 5 of my favorite tips to pack on 5 kilos of muscle in less than 8 weeks. Before we dive into that, make sure to subscribe by clicking the YouTube button below, or for those listening to the podcast, if you could rate the podcast, that'd be greatly appreciated. Allows us to reach more listeners and help the AFL community as well as high performance coaches. So let's get straight into it. Number 1, you got to make sure that you're getting a surplus of your caloric intake. So make sure you're consuming more than you burn. If you are not eating at least 3 meals of real food with a protein, meat portion, carbohydrates, and vegetables with some good fats, that's a bare minimum. On top of that, you want to make sure you're having 1 to 2 snacks, a smoothie packed with greens, fruit, protein powder, full cream milk would include as a snack. And so we have 3 main meals, two snacks. Muesli bars, nuts can be another example for a snack. We want to make sure that you're well hydrated. So that's your bare minimum. So number 1, the body needs to be in a state to a healthy level to be able to recover, but also if you have the energy and for your muscles to be fueled to be able to train at a high intensity. But also we gain muscle when we're out of the gym, not when we're working out, but actually when we're at rest. So if we're not in a caloric surplus, if you're in a deficit, i.e. if you haven't eaten a meal or any sort of fuel for 4 to 6 hours, your body's working on its reserves. Okay, so that consistency is really, really important, and making sure that you're getting in enough food over your day consistently. And the key tip with that is breaking the fast, hence breakfast. So break that fast as early as possible. As soon as you wake up, have a big meal. Typically a Kellogg's muesli or cereal isn't enough. Make sure you get like a bacon and eggs, some sort of fish, omelette, anything that we can get some meat products in would be ideal. And as well as, like we mentioned before, make sure you got those other key ingredients on top of the protein. You've got your fats, your carbohydrates, and your minerals from either fruit and vegetables. Tip number 2, eat plenty of protein and making sure that you're getting roughly 1 gram per kilo of muscle mass. So if we're typically thinking at most portion sizes, you'll get anywhere between 20 to 35 grams of protein when you're having your chicken, a steak, fish. So if we're getting those 3 hits of protein, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then you're getting extra top-ups from nuts, legumes, or perhaps a protein shake, as well as your dairy, you should be getting at least 1 gram per kilo as body mass. That would be a minimum. If you've been doing that for a few weeks and you want to up the ante and you feel like you need more protein to be able to get that muscle mass gain, which sometimes can happen with some athletes, they just need a little bit more. Maybe they've got a faster metabolism, or they've just been training for longer and we need to break that plateau. So you can go for anywhere between 1.25 and 1.5. So if they're a 100 kilo athlete, up to 150 grams as per day. And the key with that is you're not getting it over one big spike, because the body can only digest so much protein at once. So to make sure for digestive health, but also from an effectiveness point of view, spread your protein consumption over the day. Hence why that breakfast is so important. Most people, especially Australian way of eating, will do well over lunch. They'll do well over dinner. They do pretty good with their snacks, but they'll let themselves down on the first meal. And the first meal really sets the tone for the day. So make sure you're getting in your protein in that break where you're breaking the fast. Your body hasn't had any protein for up to 8 hours. Make sure you get a good hit of it in the morning. Tip number 3, lift heavy. Because we're doing this not just from a bodybuilding point of view, aesthetics point of view, you're doing it for the muscle mass that you gain to help your on-field performance, help you build body armor so you can take the collisions, but also so you're stronger in the contest and you can win those contested ground balls and contested aerial balls. So you need to lift heavy. Don't just do high rep bodybuilding training, i.e. 4 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 8 or 3 sets of 15 reps. Make sure we're lifting heavy, we're lifting with intent, it's explosive, it's athletic type power building training, not bodybuilding training. There's a place for bodybuilding, absolutely. But number one, do your strength and power work and put your energy into that and do those first and consistently with every session. So your compound lifts like your box squat, your trap bar deadlift, bench press, bench pull, weighted chin ups, weighted push ups, dips, for example. Tip number 4, as I mentioned earlier, the body actually recovers, replenishes, and you'll gain muscle mass when we're at rest. So your sleep, your active recovery, what you're doing in terms of your psychology, so not overstressing yourself and worrying about things you can't control. So your mental health and your coping strategies is really, really important. The body is very sensitive to what's going on your mind as well as what you're doing to it on the body. So if you're constantly just doing more and more and more and just piling on volume of training, you're going to be overstressing the system and you're not going to get results. In fact, you're either going to lead yourself to injury or mental burnout. So be patient, be consistent with your training. Don't change too much too early. Add a new thing once a week. So for example, if you're focusing on your breakfast, focus on that for a week, get that dialed in, have that as a routine. Then week 2 is where you might focus on improving your quality of sleep. So have a lifestyle focus each week. Week 3 might be increasing your vegetables or making sure you're really dialed in your protein consumption each day. And then from there, you're not trying to change too much too quickly. And you can see the benefits of when you've made a tweak to your lifestyle, how that's impacting the intensity and the quality of your training. So respect, rest and recovery, and make sure that you understand that that's when your body grows, is when you're at rest, and when you're sleeping is your peak time. So getting in that consistent sleep time, the time you go to bed, as well as the wake up time. Tip number 5, hire a AFL strength and conditioning coach like the ones we have at Prepare Like a Pro. We have a coach in most states around the country. And if you haven't got one in your state, you can work with us remotely where we consult with you over Zoom. So if that's of interest to you, email me at jack@preparelikeapro.com. If you want structure and a program to follow that's suited to your program, we have a Gainers AFL as well as an AFLW program that goes year round. So it's specific to whether you're in off season, we can get some more work in. It's specific to when you're in preseason, when you're doing football training sessions and practice matches. And it's also tailored to those in season, taking into account the game day. We make sure we do our heavy lifting early in the week, furthest away from the game. We do more explosive work as we get closer to the game, and we do our extra body armor work on your off days when you're not going into the football club. So if you want a AFL specific program that I design all of them, then check out. We've got a free trial out on our website, or you can click the link in our Instagram and TikTok bio. But absolutely have a program that's specific to football. Don't just follow anything, a cookie cutter program online. Make sure if you want to gain size, you've got to have a program that's football focused, but also has enough volume and is tailored to gaining muscle mass and where you are in season as well. That's really important. So that's the 5 tips. If you use any of these tips and you find them helpful, please let us know by either direct messages us on socials or emailing, or just simply writing a review about the podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify or iTunes. I'd love to hear what tips you found effective. It's great feedback as well for us to know that you're applying this information. So if you could send us through what you found helpful, that would be amazing. Podcast this week, we've got Phil Mullen. I'm about to interview him in 10 minutes time. So they'll be live on our YouTube channel, and we'll release that podcast this Wednesday. We have Peter Courage, who's a dietitian. That episode will be on 1:30 p.m. Australian Standard Time on Thursday. And our bite-sized episode from a podcast I did over a year and a half ago with who at the time was our Perth ambassador, Jacob Van Ruin. I'm lucky enough to work with him at the Melbourne Football Club. He's making great strides in his career. So if you listen to the bite-sized episode on Friday and you enjoy that episode, make sure to search for his name for the full episode in our podcast. I've just posted a tweet and a LinkedIn for all the high-performance coaches, strength and conditioning coaches. I'm really interested to get as much information and data as possible. So if you could enter your poll, I've written in a question on LinkedIn and Twitter, the role of technology in sport, and whether you're more objective bias, are you more subjective, how the athlete's feeling, or are you a bit of both in the middle? So I'm really interested to hear. So if you're on LinkedIn or Twitter, and check out that thread. It's our most recent post, and please contribute. I'd love to see where the industry is at in terms of more objective or more subjective, or is it more in the middle? Here's our last wrap up. So our high speed and sprint workout. Start with a flying 100. So you do a 30-meter acceleration. So it's a gradual build. 40 meters in the middle where you're holding your speed, and then a 30-meter decel. So a great opportunity to work on your max velocity. I'd expect you to work up to 95% on that day, okay, in this session. Then from there, that's after a really good warm up, of course, 15-minute dynamic warm up. After that, we're going to do 4 25-meter shuttles, so 100 meters worth of shuttles on the 40 seconds, and looking to get under 20 seconds. So really working on your change of direction technique under a bit of fatigue. You can do 3 of those, okay? So 300 meters of shuttles. Then we're going to go into a lap steady state jog, taking 2 minutes there. So steady pace, work on maintaining your heart rate or try and reduce your heart rate from the shuttles. And then we're going to do 3 rounds of a high speed workout to really work on your speed endurance. First round's 15-second reps. You can do 6 reps, aiming for 90 meters every 45 seconds. So you get double the rest, 15 seconds on, 30 seconds off. You then do a steady state lap jog, stick to that 2-minute pace. And then we're going to go for 2 8-second max velocity efforts. So the speed that you hit, let's say you hit 30 Ks per hour in those flying efforts, we're going to work 80% of that. So it'll be around sort of 27 Ks. You're going to work out what that speed is by dividing it by 3.6, and you're going to run that for 8 seconds. Okay, so let's say it's 55 meters. You run that in 8 seconds every 30 seconds. So 2 of those along the center square. Then from there, steady state lap. Then we get into round 2, which is now 12-second reps for our high speed running. So that's going to be every 36 seconds you go. So you get double the rest. You're going to go for 72 meters in 12 seconds, and you get 24 seconds off. 6 of those. Back into our max, 80% of our max velocity efforts, that real sprint where you get that hard acceleration, 55-meter effort in 8 seconds, every 30 seconds, 2 of those into a lap jog. And then last round, 10 seconds, you get 60 meters, okay? And then you're going for 20 seconds rest. So every 30 seconds you go, 6 reps, finish with a C-set lap. That's a great mix speed workout. So you're getting your velocity hit that you need to hit every couple of weeks, that 95% velocity to protect your hamstrings and really work on your maximum speed development. You're getting your change of direction technique under fatigue with the shuttles, really important for especially inside mids that need to change and react to the stoppage and the ball movement. You're getting your high speed running, which is important pretty much for every position nowadays, for that spread and 2-way running, both defensive as well as offensive running, and really break away from your opponent. And then you're getting your aerobic work by doing the steady state lap jogs in between that high intensity work. Give it a go. Let me know how you find that workout. Those targets are set for a pretty experienced athlete. So if you're younger and developing, then let me know, direct message me, and I'll tweak those targets. Okay, so that would be suited for probably a male and female adult footballer that's been training and well conditioned. That's it for this week. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast. And if you could leave a review, that would be fantastic. And I'll see you on our next show. Thank you.